So now you're trying a couple on your own. Let's see. And what I'm about to show you is not the only answers. It would be hard for me to predict what everyone wrote. But if we look at this first one about the researcher knows the amount of electricity used in 20 different homes on a Monday, a possible answer, the pink there is what the book had. How much electricity does the house that uses the most electricity use? And they are using a superlative. They're using the word most. And of course, the opposite of that would be least. So this is another example that maybe you have. Maybe you said, well, I want to know which house uses the least amount. So how much electricity does the house that uses the least electricity use? And, those would give you numbers. And to measure electricity, we use something called kilowatt hours. And for example, this is, about how much like a house might use, like 416 kilowatt hours. So it's giving you a number, which is what all statistical questions should give you. It gives you some sort of number. In this case, or an example of a number could be 416, might be more or less than that, depending on how big the house is. But we're also getting that biggest and smallest. In this case, we're using the words most and least. Now, you don't have to have exactly word for word what these say, but they should be pretty much kind of the same idea. You can't ask questions that you don't necessarily have the answer to. So, what is the highest number of kilowatt hours used for the week, or used for the month, or used for the year? If you remember, the question was just talking about a Monday, one day of the week. There's 20 homes, but only on one day. So if you ask any of these questions about how much is used in a week, a month, and a year, that wouldn't work for this situation because we don't have that information. Which family used the least? Well, that won't give us a number. That would give us a name of a family. And that's not a statistical question. We actually, if you look back here, we don't necessarily even know if we have the names of the families. We just have the homes. Who used the most? Sounds like that could be a biggest question or superlative question. But again, that is not going to tell us a number. That would tell us probably a name of a person, like the person who's on the bill, or the name of the family. And that's not a statistical question. We should always have a number as an answer. Now for the museum director that records the number of students in each group that visits the museum during 1 week. How many students are in the smallest tour group? That's a great example. The opposite of that would be how many students are in the highest group, or how many students are in the, I guess, biggest probably works better there. We're using our biggest and smallest there, so our superlatives. Make sure we don't ask these types of questions. How many girls came to the museum? Well, we're just recording the number of students. We weren't saying if they were boys or girls.